I think that there will be a lot of things happening between now and the 20th of January, a lot of things.
President Trump remaining mum on a potential run for president in 2024, but weighing in on the next critical election, the January 5th Senate runoff in Georgia. The president tweeting he will go to Georgia to campaign for the Republican incumbent, but some believe his rhetoric about rigged elections could keep voters from turning out.
The best case Democrats have to make in this election is to let Donald Trump go out there, say his insane things, say his destabilizing things about democracy. He is doing the Democrats' work for them by continuing on with these shenanigans.
Also today, a Philadelphia federal appeals court rejected President Trump's latest effort to challenge Pennsylvania's election results. The court saying calling an election unfair does not make it so. Charges require specific allegations and then proof. We have neither here. If the Trump campaign appeals, the case could reach the U.S. Supreme Court. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
Work on the setup for the inauguration is buzzing outside of the White House. Crews are building viewing stands for the ceremony, which is planned to take place on the west lawn of the Capitol. Stacks of lumber and other materials are inside a fenced area visible from the White House. Planning for the inauguration began in July. Its theme is Our Determined Democracy, Forging a More Perfect Union. Firing squads and the electric chair could make a comeback, at least theoretically. The Department of Justice is rushing to change the rules for federal death penalties before Trump is out of office. Some of those changes include electrocution and firing squads as acceptable execution methods for federal inmates. Right now, 28 states allow federal and state executions. It's likely, though, the Biden administration would quickly reverse the rule, as President-elect Biden has said he would like to abolish the federal death penalty. Now to the latest COVID-19 numbers. The United States has surpassed 13 million cases of the virus today. Data from Johns Hopkins University show more than 264,000 Americans have died from COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. Here in California, Los Angeles County has recorded more than 383,000 cases and 7,500 deaths, the most of any other county in the U.S. In today's local COVID-19 numbers, San Luis Obispo County reported the county's 36th COVID-19 death today. County officials reporting 173 new cases of the virus since Wednesday. Officials say 12 people are hospitalized with one patient in the ICU. Another 950 people are recovering at home. More than 5,000 people have already recovered. Los Angeles County health officials are adding more restrictions to its stay-at-home order. The county's new order advises all residents to stay home as much as possible and wear a face covering at all times when they're outside their household and around other people. Church services and protests are exempt from the order since both are, quote, constitutionally protected rights. The order will take effect Monday and last through December 20th. The FDA may authorize a COVID-19 vaccine, though, in just a few weeks. The Food and Drug Administration is holding an emergency use authorization meeting about Pfizer's vaccine on December 10th. A decision is expected within weeks, possibly days after that key meeting. So far, Pfizer is the only company to apply for an emergency use authorization from the FDA for a coronavirus vaccine. Well, coming up, lots to talk about and weather. It is getting cold out there on the Central Coast, despite that nice warm sunshine we're seeing.
Yeah, exactly. A meteorologist back home would also say, like, snuggle alert, because you're going to need a jacket, a blanket. This was the view out at Lake Nacimiento earlier today. Details on a chilly weekend coming up.
Also coming up, letters to Santa are piling up for the holiday season. We'll tell you how they're a little different this year.
On KSBY 6.
Thousands of children and families worldwide wrote letters to Santa Claus about the challenges they're facing during the pandemic. A post office in southwest France receives the letters, notes, and cards. Tim from Taiwan slipped a face mask inside the greeting card he sent to Santa. 5-year-old Alina asked in her Santa letter, writing with an adult's help, that he please use the front door when he drops in. She says the back door was reserved for her grandma and grandpa to minimize the risk of contamination. Our 9th annual Season of Hope Toy and Food Drive is in full swing. You can donate non-perishable food items or new unwrapped toys at donation locations throughout the Central Coast. Financial contributions are also welcome. To find the drop-off location closest to you, head to our website, kspy.com. The Christmas Tree Corner in Santa Maria is in its final Christmas tree selling season. Owner George Enriquez has sold Christmas trees at the same spot on Broadway in Santa Maria for 35 years. He first opened his business in 1985 and became the only family-owned tree lot in Santa Maria. He says he's going to miss helping community members find the perfect Christmas tree.
This is my love is Christmas trees, meeting people, helping people out, looking for the right tree, and I'm going to miss that.
It's going to be crazy because he's the only one can probably put up with me, because I have to have the perfect tree and he always finds it. He don't stop until he finds it, so that's going to be very hard for me to go to another place because they're not going to listen to me.
Enriquez says it's time for him to slow down and enjoy his golden years. Meantime, Hidden Springs Tree Farm in Atascadero is now open today. There's also Brookshire Farms in San Luis Obispo with a tree lot in Paso Robles and Holloway's Christmas Tree Farm in Napomo. A follow-up now. Some community members in Southern California are at higher risk of wildfires. Now, the communities there, the local power company Edison announced more than 103,000 of their customers were at risk of power shutoffs on Thanksgiving Day. Those shutoffs went into the overnight hours because of the fire danger. The number of customers without power changed throughout the night, and some were not happy.
It's a bit of a surprise, to be honest, because yes, we all really understand our fire threat. Wondering why today? Why Thanksgiving? Why since 1 o'clock? And when we call the power company, they really can't give us any hope or any, hey, maybe at 9 o'clock or maybe by tomorrow. It's that not knowing, that's really frustrating.
Some of California's largest wildfires have been linked to electrical equipment. Edison says power will be restored as soon as weather conditions permit. And we were tracking some gusty conditions here on the Central Coast, but Melissa will explain further what we're expecting locally. Melissa.
Yeah, so relatively calm compared to what's happening in Southern California is on tap for the Central Coast. This was the view out in Pismo Beach today. Let's take a look at some of the photos you guys sent us using hashtag #BeyondKSBY. Here's Candace's view of the sun setting in Arroyo Grande today, and here's a nice sunset at the beach sent in by Heather. You can send us your photos on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter using hashtag #BeyondKSBY. Let's take a look at those current temperatures now. 54 degrees in Paso Robles, 52 in Santa Maria, 46 in Lompoc, and 59 in Goleta. If we take a look at temperatures across the region, we're kind of right in the middle there. 57 degrees right now in San Francisco and 60 degrees in Los Angeles. So as we're heading into this weekend, we're still monitoring those winds because of all of the strong wind activity happening to the south of us, 7 miles per hour right now in Paso Robles. But there is those fire weather warnings still in effect for Ventura and Los Angeles counties. That's continuing until tomorrow evening. Potentials for gusts up to 60 miles per hour in those areas, along with really low relative humidity numbers, meaning a fire could spread really easily because there's not a whole lot of moisture in the air. Now, when it comes to the Central Coast, unfortunately, we're not out of the woods yet either. We're still under elevated fire weather conditions because this weekend we're anticipating wind speeds around 20 to 35 miles per hour in wind-prone areas. Now, that's including San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties. If we take a look at our wind forecast, it does show some pretty moderate winds tomorrow morning. Here's a look at 3:30. We're at 17 mile per hour winds in Morro Bay, 14 in Cambria, compared to just 4 miles per hour in Lompoc and 3 miles per hour in Solvang. Then as we're heading into Saturday afternoon, things calm down significantly. Wind speeds generally between 5 to 10 miles per hour as we're heading into the evening hours. Now, our microclimate forecast showing clear skies for several days ahead. Unfortunately, no cloud coverage. That means no rain or any real type of moisture coming up for the next few days, and we desperately need it though. What we can expect is some pretty chilly temperatures. This is a look ahead at tomorrow morning in places like Pismo Beach, starting off the day around 37 degrees and rising to about 66 degrees. Paso Robles starting even chillier tomorrow, around 27 degrees before reaching nearly 70 degrees by 3 p.m. Now, those temperatures have prompted a frost advisory spanning across both San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties. That starts at 2 a.m., continuing on until 9 a.m. Potentials for that being extended throughout the weekend. Now, when there is a frost advisory, it's really important to bring in sensitive plants and animals because they could be harmed by how cold the temperatures are. So forecast for the rest of the Central Coast: 69 for your high tomorrow in Paso Robles, 73 in San Luis Obispo and Santa Maria, and 71 in Lompoc. Down the coast in Carpinteria, we're looking at 66 degrees, 75 in Santa Ynez and Los Alamos. In the Five Cities, 71 in Napomo, 69 in Arroyo Grande, and 66 in Pismo Beach. And in northern San Luis Obispo County, 66 in Avila Beach, 68 in Morro Bay, and 68 in Cayucas. So in our extended forecast, you'll see our chilly temperatures continuing on for the next several days. So definitely time to bring out those jackets. Megan, back to you.
All right, thanks, Melissa. Well, Cal Poly men's basketball is officially back on the court. The Mustangs started their season off strong with their first matchup against Bethesda today. Casey Busher will have those highlights coming up in sports.
The Season of Hope, brought to you on KSBY 6 and CW5 by CCPN. The Haven, Idler's Home, Pacific Premier Bank, and Tenet Health Central Coast.
On NBC.
It's been a long time coming, but the Cal Poly men's basketball team is finally back in action. The Mustangs took on Bethesda Friday afternoon at the Mott Athletic Center for their first game of the season. Starting with a bang, Tuka Yakola finds Iowa grad transfer Riley Till underneath. He throws it down to open up the 2020 scoring. He tosses it up to Yakola and he lays it in. Cal Poly opens the game to an 11-0 run. The Mustangs keep it rolling. Kobe Sanders gets the ball screen, launches a three, and drills it. Cal Poly leads 20-7. Now still in the first, Keith Smith finds Stevenson on a backdoor cut. He lays it in easily. The Mustangs lead is up 18. But Cal Poly continued to score early and often. Mark Crow finds Till. He makes a move and uses the lefty hook. Cal Poly rolls in the season opener. They'll head to the Bay Area for 3 games in 6 days, starting next Friday. College football history could be made this Saturday if Vanderbilt's kicker Sarah Fuller steps on the field against Missouri. Fuller is set to become the first woman to participate in a Power 5 football game. She is a goalkeeper on Vanderbilt's SEC championship soccer team. She tried out and was added to the football roster this week. Fuller's helmet will have a special sticker across the back that reads, "Play like a girl." Vanderbilt is set to play Missouri at 9 a.m. Saturday. An early season matchup on the hard court as number 4 Virginia and San Francisco meet at the Mohegan Sun. Now UVA won their opener as the Dons split their first 2 games. The teams meet in the Home Light Classic. UVA head coach Tony Bennett in his 12th season with the Cavaliers. Now first half, Dons playing their 3rd game in 3 days. Khalil Shabazz with a 3 straight away. San Francisco up 19-15. The Dons lived by the 3, their 13th of the game, this one by Tavi Jerkatom with just over 2 minutes to play. And San Francisco is up 61-54. Virginia huddled up in the final seconds. Are they going to make a comeback against San Francisco? Now the final seconds, Dons up 61-60 and UVA can win it with a walk-off game winner, but not today as the Marquette transfer Sam Hosser misses and time expires and San Francisco has their first win over a top 5 opponent since 1981, beating number 4 Virginia 61-60. More highlights from the Cal Poly men's basketball game tonight on KSBY. That's all for sports. Back to you in studio.
All right, Casey, thanks. And still ahead in our next half hour of news, how one Bay Area county is increasing coronavirus restriction enforcement during this holiday season.
Up a life season.
To the latest in COVID-19 news, some businesses in the purple tier counties across California are pushing back against Governor Newsom's restrictions. Reporter Adam Rakusin explains the laws that allow the government to put these restrictions in place.
No, That's the answer some business owners have for the latest round of California's purple tier restrictions.
They're not playing fair. It's just an across the board, you're going to do what we say.
That was Larry McNamer last week, a few hours after the county of San Diego hit him with a cease and desist letter. The letter saying his restaurant is in violation of the order of the state health officer and the county order of the health officer and emergency regulations.
We are doing everything that we should be doing and can do to make sure that any customer that walks through the front door is safe.
As the state once again clamps down on businesses, some question whether the restrictions are legal.
The fact is that the government possesses the authority to enact emergency regulations to protect the people. Individuals do not have a constitutional right to go out into the community and harm others.
Michael Jenkins is a lecturer in law at the University of Southern California Law School. His focus is local government. Jenkins says the governor has powers under both the California Constitution and the California Emergency Services Act. At the local level, the law allows the health officer to take any preventative measure necessary to protect and preserve public health.
The governor has the authority to issue a statewide emergency. The county health officer has authority in California law to issue countywide states of emergency, and those orders are applicable in all cities within the county.
On Monday, a San Diego judge denied a request by businesses that argued the state's Emergency Services Act violates the California Constitution. The judge writing, impact on public health of dismantling a portion of the state's COVID-19 response designed to reduce community spread outweighs the economic harm to plaintiffs. But the court's decision doesn't impact local enforcement, something we found varies by county.
We are not going to respond simply to people that are gathering at a house where there's too many.
That's the Kern County Sheriff responding to the state's curfew or stay-at-home order. A spokesperson for the Kern County Department of Public Health sent us this list of verified complaints against businesses. The county saying they've sent educational letters to these businesses advising them of the state orders. A different story in San Diego County, where the county sent a number of cease and desist health order violations. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department issuing one citation so far this month. In San Luis Obispo County, the Public Health Department says they continue to take an approach that prioritizes education first as they work to bring local businesses into compliance with the governor's orders. Since July, the county's issued 4 directed orders, which tells businesses to come into compliance.
The emergency powers are intended to protect the community at large, and that's really their purpose.
Adam Rakusin, KSBY News.
Public health officials are stepping up enforcement efforts after a record-breaking spike of COVID-19 cases in Santa Clara County. Santa Clara County officials say they will ramp up enforcement of COVID-19 restrictions starting today. Grocery stores will have to make sure they keep their crowds at a maximum of 50% full capacity. Shopping centers and retail stores must limit shopper numbers to just 25% capacity. Enforcement teams will also look for shoppers who refuse to follow masking and social distancing rules. The number of COVID-19 cases in the U.S. may be much higher than what's actually been reported. CDC researchers say by the end of September, nearly 52.9 million people have tested positive. This means the infections were almost 8 times higher than what was reported at the time, which was then 6.9 million. Researchers say most of the unreported cases were either asymptomatic or mild infections. Well, like everything these days, Black Friday is also looking a little bit different in 2020. NBC's Chris Pallone reports how retailers and shoppers navigate the holiday season, balancing safety with convenience.
Like Black Fridays of years past, some American retailers opened their doors before dawn, but instead of frenzied scenes of shoppers fighting for a handful of bargains, 2020 saw smaller crowds with social distancing and mask rules enforced as much as possible.
You know, no one's pushing, no one's trying to outrun because there's nobody in the store. So it was great. I can do every year.
Retailers have been planning for this since the pandemic hit. Many are offering their best deals online over a longer period, trying to keep shoppers out of stores as much as possible.
We saw early this year retailers really adapting very, very quickly to the changed environment.
So far this month, online shoppers have spent more than $60 billion. Sales expected to top $10 billion on Black Friday alone, up 39% from last year.
We are sold out of systems. There's no point in being in line.
But some places were more successful than others in keeping crowds at home. New video game systems produced this more traditional Black Friday swarm in Wisconsin.
We're just trying to keep people apart, try to keep people one at a time.
The holiday season arrives as the COVID crisis continues to grow. The country seeing 2,000 more deaths Thursday, the most in a day since July. Where shoppers see opportunity, health officials see red flags.
If there are lots of gatherings, we know that in 2 to 3 weeks we're going to have even more hospitalizations.
An unusual start to a holiday shopping season unlike any other. Chris Pallone, KSBY News.
If you've recovered from COVID-19, there's a good chance you feel a sense of relief that you've probably developed some immunity, but that may not be the case. The good news, though, is there seems to be immunity that lasts a while, but that term seems to depend on how badly infected you were. Scientists tracked antibody levels in 365,000 people in England from June through September. In June, 6% of the population had antibodies using a finger prick test. By September, only 4.4% of the people tested had antibodies. Health officials in the U.S. are turning to cell phones to help with COVID-19 contact tracing. Here's how it works. Android users have to turn on Bluetooth and download the state's COVID-19 notification app. iPhone users already have that in the system within the settings. When someone who uses the feature tests positive for the virus, they get a PIN from a health official to enter into their phone. Any other phones nearby in the previous 2 weeks will then get an alert. Well, coming up, Dungeness crab fishing season is delayed for a second time. The reasons behind the setback and how it's impacting local seafood restaurants. And one retail giant is paying out bonuses during the holiday season. How much these frontline workers are getting.
Friday Sell-a-thon ends Monday.
Welcome back. Central Coast businesses are facing delays outside of the pandemic. This year, fishermen will have to wait even longer to catch Dungeness crab, a seafood staple for many local restaurants. KSBY News reporter Cindy Brandt explains the reasons behind this extended delay.
The holiday season is one of the busiest times for Dungeness crab, but this year some restaurants may see a delay due to safety precautions for fishermen with more whales in the water.
Dungeness crab fishermen have had a really tough last few years. The catches haven't been great, and then we've had multiple closures, multiple delays.
Morro Bay restaurant owner Giovanni DeGaramore knows what a pause in a popular product is like. The delay in Dungeness crab this year comes down to two factors. For areas up north, it's the crab quality.
You always want to pick one like that because it'll have more meat and more flavor.
But for more southern locations like Morro Bay,
the commercial fishery is being delayed due to numbers of humpback and blue whales in the fishing grounds.
Surveys from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife show whales are still abundant off of the coast, pushing back the start of the commercial Dungeness crab season, which was set after the first postponement to open December 1st. A 2-week delay comes as a safety precaution for fishermen, as a whale entanglement could impact their business.
They can lose a whole year, so they'd rather preemptively shut down and lose a month or two than lose 8 months of fishing season.
Giovanni's restaurant has stayed busy with a high demand for crab.
We're trying our best to keep crab in stock, but A, it's very expensive, and B, it's difficult to get here. We're having to fly it in direct from Washington right now.
But a price of up to $12 per pound can be too steep for some businesses, opting for less expensive options like snow and rock crab. Bartling says migration is expected to be underway soon and says there's still time for fisheries to recover. Central Coast fish suppliers say they understand the need to wait just a bit longer.
I think it really comes down to doing the right thing for the environment. And even the fishermen, as frustrated as they are, they understand that they have to do the right thing, not just for the whales, but to protect their fishing industry.
Bartling says for northern areas, the Dungeness crab season will be delayed until December 16th. For southern areas, the season will be delayed until at least December 15th, but another risk assessment will be conducted to collect more data on whale concentrations. Reporting in Morro Bay, Sydney Brandt, KSBY News.
All right, and for more information on that, you can check our website, ksby.com, for when restaurants might be able to see the Dungeness crab from local waters. Well, more customers are avoiding malls and buying gifts from their couch during the pandemic, and this means online shopping sales are up. According to data from Adobe Analytics, Thanksgiving Day spending increased by 21.5% to $5.1 billion. That's a new record. Data show nearly half of those purchases were made on a smartphone. And if you're shopping for a new TV, here are some tips to keep in mind. According to Consumer Reports, you should pay attention to the TV's